So the last task was to draw a red rectangle on the right side that was colored with red. And yeah, you might have had a problem with that, but what we want to do here is run draw rectangle again, but we want to not put it at 230. We would want to probably put it at positive 230. And so let's go ahead and run this one and see if this works as well. Okay, so let me erase that, and run it again. And we get something like this. Right? And so this is not good. And the first thing that's not good about this is that this rectangle's x position is not centered on the screen. Right? So it is seems to be in the right place, like in the center of the right side of the screen, but we need to move it to the left. And if I want the center of the rectangle to be at this point here, then I would need to move it to the left half of the length or the width of the rectangle. Right? So if I move it to the left half of the length of the width, then I think we'll be good. So let's come over here, and on the x, this is the x position argument, we're going to subtract 90 from it, because that's half of the length. Right? So let's go ahead and see if that works better. Ooh, it still doesn't look good, huh? Okay, well maybe we could just key in a number here that would look better. So let's maybe try 100. Okay, so I want the same space here as I have here, so I'm going to move it to the left a little bit more, and let's try maybe 80. Okay, so that looks a little bit better. I'm going to actually change it to 70, and that should be perfect. Okay, so that looks good to me. Maybe a little bit more, actually. But anyhow, now the problem is that it's not red. Right? The first one's green, and the second one's also green. And why is that? It's because we set the turtle's color right here on line 25. So when it goes to run draw rectangle the first time, it draws a rectangle, and it does begin fill, end fill, colors it green. And then it goes to run draw rectangle again, and it comes up here and it does begin fill, end fill, and it colors it in green. Right? So we actually don't want to set the turtle's color here. Right? What would be better is if we set the turtle's color right here, right before we drew. Okay. And another thing is that if we do this and we run it, we'll get the same result, because every time it calls draw rectangle, it's setting the turtle's color to green. But we don't want that. We want it to be variable, right? We want this to be variable. Sometimes we want it to be green, and then another time we want it to be red. So what we can do is create a variable for it. And what I want to do is be able to pass it in as an argument here. So I'm going to pass in the word green, and over here I want to be able to pass in the word red. And if I pass in green, then that means when I call draw rectangle this time, it's going to draw a green rectangle. And when I call draw rectangle this time, it's going to draw a red rectangle. So if we ever add an argument to a function definition, we need to receive it as a parameter right here. Right? So the first time draw rectangle is called, text is going to be equal to green, the word green, and it's going to set the text color, the fill color to green. The second time draw rectangle is called, text is going to be equal to red, and it's going to fill the rectangle with red. Right? So let's go ahead and see if that works. Okay, so it does work, right? And so let's go and change that not to green, but let's do dark green, because I don't like regular green. And let's do dark red, because I don't like regular red. Have an extra space in there. Alright, and so that's how we're going to get our two rectangles onto the screen and using the correct color.